The rancher had been away for many months. He had left his home in the valley with a clear purpose in mind: to handle some business matters in a nearby town and gather supplies for the coming season. The ranch had always been his pride, a place he had built from the ground up with hard work, sweat, and long days under the sun. Every corner of the land carried memories: the fields where he had planted crops, the fences he had repaired countless times, and the barns where he had cared for his animals through cold winters and dry summers. More than that, the ranch was the heart of his family. His wives, who had come from the Apache community, were devoted and loving, helping him tend the land, care for the animals, and maintain their home. They were more than just companions. They were partners who shared his life, his work, and his dreams. As he traveled back, the rancher's mind was full of thoughts of home. He imagined the warm glow of the evening sun over the fields, the soft calls of the animals, and the laughter of his wives as they worked together in the kitchen or around the ranch. He had been away long enough to miss these simple but precious moments, and the thought of returning filled him with excitement. Yet, at the same time, he felt a small knot of worry. It was natural, he told himself, that he had been away for so long, and he hoped everything was in order. The journey was not an easy one. He rode along dusty paths, through hills and across rivers, noticing the changes in the landscape. Some trees had grown taller. Some fences had fallen. The rancher felt a strange mix of familiarity and distance. He could almost feel the presence of his home before he even reached it. His heart beat faster as he neared the valley where his ranch stood. But when he finally saw the ranch from a distance, his heart sank. Something was wrong. The fields seemed slightly different. The fences were moved. And most unsettling of all, there were signs of new activity that he did not recognize. And then, as he rode closer, he saw a figure standing near the barn. It was his brother. The rancher's chest tightened. He had not expected anyone else to be here. As he approached, his brother turned toward him with a smile that did not reach his eyes. "You're back," his brother said, but the tone was strange. There was no warmth, no welcome, only a distant politeness that felt sharp and cold. The rancher's stomach sank. I came back for home," he said carefully, trying to hide the worry creeping into his voice. "Our ranch. Our land." His brother laughed softly, a sound that was meant to be friendly but felt mocking. "This ranch has been mine for months now," he said. "I have taken care of it while you were gone. Everything is under control. Everything." The rancher could not believe what he was hearing. He had worked on this ranch his entire life. Every fence post, every field, every building bore the mark of his effort. How could his brother claim it as his own? His mind raced as he tried to process the betrayal. He had trusted his brother, had believed that family meant loyalty, and yet here was a cold truth that threatened to crush him. To make matters worse, the rancher noticed his wives standing nearby, looking uncomfortable and hesitant. Their faces were pale, and their eyes avoided his. The rancher felt a sudden pain in his chest. He had always relied on their support, their love, and their understanding. Now, seeing them rejected, seeing them treated as strangers by the man who should have been family, he felt a deep sorrow. "Why? Why are they here like this?" he asked quietly, his voice trembling. "They are not part of my life," his brother said sharply. "They do not belong here. I cannot accept them on this ranch." The words were like a blow. The rancher took a step back. Disbelief written across his face. His wives had shared his life, worked side by side with him, and now they were being dismissed as if their loyalty and presence meant nothing. He felt anger rising, but it was mingled with deep sadness. His brother's rejection was more than just about land. It was about everything he had built, everything he had loved, everything he had trusted. The rancher dismounted slowly, trying to gather his thoughts. He looked at his wives, who seemed uncertain, almost afraid to speak. He remembered all the mornings they had shared coffee in the kitchen, all the evenings they had spent under the stars, and all the times they had helped him tend the animals and the fields. They were his family, and the thought of losing them, even temporarily, made his chest tighten. He turned to his brother again, his voice firm but controlled. "This is not right," he said. "This land, this ranch, it belongs to me. I built it. I worked for it. And my family, my wives, they are part of this life. They are part of this home." His brother shrugged. "I do not care about what you built. I care about what I have now. And what I have is this ranch, these animals, and this land under my name. You were gone, and I took the opportunity." The rancher felt the anger boiling within him, but he also knew he needed to stay calm. He could not allow himself to act rashly. This was his home, and he would need careful planning to reclaim it. But before any action, he needed to understand the full situation. He began to speak with neighbors who had seen the changes while he was away. Some told him the ranch had been neglected until his brother took control. Others offered sympathetic words, understanding the injustice he faced. Still, there were those who were indifferent, seeing family disputes as common and unavoidable. His wives stood silently beside him, showing quiet support. They did not speak much, but their presence gave him strength. He could see the worry in their eyes, the hurt of being rejected, but he also saw determination. They would not abandon him, and he would not abandon them. The rancher realized that while the battle ahead would be difficult, he was not alone. He spent the rest of the day walking around the ranch, observing the changes, taking note of what had been done and what had been damaged. He saw areas that needed repair, fences that had been moved, and pastures that had been poorly managed. Each site brought a mix of frustration and sorrow, but also a sense of resolve. He had survived hard winters, dry summers, and countless obstacles before. He could survive this too. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the fields, the rancher gathered his wives and spoke quietly. "We will find a way," he said. "This ranch is ours, our home. We will restore it, and we will protect it. We have faced challenges before, and we can face this one too." The wives nodded, their faces softening with relief. They had feared being left behind, feared losing the home and life they had shared, but the rancher's words gave them hope. Together, they walked to the barn, inspecting the animals and the equipment, silently planning the work that would be needed. Though the day had been full of shock and pain, it also marked the beginning of a new determination. That night, the rancher sat by the fire, thinking about the days to come. He knew the road ahead would not be easy. His brother would not easily give up the ranch, and the community might not fully support him. But he also knew that with patience, strategy, and the loyalty of his wives, he could reclaim what was his. He would not let betrayal destroy the life he had built, nor would he allow those he loved to suffer rejection. As the stars appeared in the sky, the rancher felt a renewed sense of purpose. He would fight, not with anger alone, but with careful planning, courage, and the strength of family. The ranch was more than land and fences. It was history, love, and life itself, and he would do whatever it took to protect it. Though the night was quiet and still, the rancher's mind was busy, planning the first steps toward reclaiming his home, restoring harmony, and confronting the challenges ahead. He had returned to find betrayal, but he also returned with hope, courage, and the knowledge that true strength comes from perseverance, loyalty, and love. The rancher went to sleep that night, not with despair, but with determination, ready to face the trials that would come, and prepared to fight for the land and family he loved. The next morning, the rancher woke before the sun, the chill of dawn brushing against his face. His mind was already busy, thinking about the steps he needed to take. He knew that reclaiming the ranch would not be easy. His brother had taken control while he was away, and there would be resistance. Yet, the rancher felt a quiet confidence. He had always faced hardships before, and each time, he had found a way through. This was no different. He started by walking through the ranch, inspecting every part carefully. The fences were uneven. Some posts had rotted or fallen over. The fields had been poorly tended. Weeds had grown where crops should have been, and the soil looked tired from neglect. The barns were in better condition, but it was clear that care had been inconsistent. The rancher's heart ached at the sight, but he also felt determination. This was his home, and he would restore it, no matter how long it took. His wives joined him, helping him assess what needed attention first. Together, they made a plan. The animals would need care immediately, feeding, watering, and tending to any health issues. The fences had to be repaired to protect the livestock. Then they could move on to the fields, clearing the weeds and preparing the soil for planting. Even the small daily tasks, which seemed simple, would be a foundation for reclaiming not only the ranch, but also the sense of life and harmony that had been disrupted. The rancher decided it was important to confront his brother. But he knew he had to be strategic. Anger alone would not help him reclaim the ranch, and a public argument could lead to unnecessary trouble. He spoke with neighbors who were familiar with both him and his brother. Some offered advice, suggesting patience and careful negotiation. Others reminded him that family disputes could be complicated and messy, sometimes taking months or years to resolve. The rancher listened carefully, absorbing the wisdom without letting fear or doubt take hold. By mid-morning, he was ready to approach his brother again. This time, he carried a calm authority, speaking clearly and firmly. "This ranch is not yours," he said. "It is mine, and I have worked for it every day of my life. I am asking you to leave peacefully so we can avoid conflict. This is not only about the land, it is about respect, family, and what is right." His brother shook his head. "I do not care about what is right," he said. "I am here now, and this ranch belongs to me. If you want it, you will have to take it." The rancher did not raise his voice. He understood that force would not solve the problem. He needed patience and persistence. "Then I will take the necessary steps," he replied, calm but resolute. "I will ensure that the law recognizes what is true. This is my home, and I will not abandon it." For the next several days, the rancher worked tirelessly on the ranch, while also preparing to formalize his claim. He documented the land, the buildings, and the care he had provided over the years. He spoke with neighbors who could confirm his ownership and the work he had done. Through these small but important actions, he strengthened his position, both legally and morally. Despite the tension with his brother, the rancher focused on the present tasks. Each day, he and his wives repaired fences, cleared fields, and tended the animals. They worked long hours under the sun, their efforts renewing the land and restoring a sense of order. With each repaired fence and each healthy animal, the rancher felt a growing sense of hope. He could see the ranch returning to life. And he knew that this visible progress was also a statement. He was reclaiming not only the land, but the respect and dignity that had been taken from him. The Apache wives played a crucial role in this work. Their loyalty and care were unwavering. They had been rejected by the brother, treated as outsiders on the land they loved, yet they stayed by the rancher's side. Their presence reminded him that family is more than blood, it is also love, commitment, and shared struggle. In quiet moments, they spoke to each other about the past and the future, offering encouragement, sharing plans, and reminding one another that they were strong together. As the weeks passed, the rancher made small but steady progress. The land began to look cared for again. The fences stood firm, and the animals were healthy and content. The community began to notice the change. Some neighbors offered help, seeing the rancher's dedication and the injustice he had faced. Others remained cautious, unwilling to take sides, but the rancher did not let their opinions deter him. He focused on what he could control: the land, the animals, and the well-being of his family. One morning, as the rancher was repairing a section of fence, his brother appeared again. This time, there was a hint of hesitation in his posture. "You have worked hard," he said. "I see that. But this does not change anything." The rancher looked at him steadily. "It will be mine," he replied calmly. "And you will see that respect and fairness are stronger than force. I do not want conflict, but I will do what is necessary to protect my home and family." His brother left without further words, and the rancher returned to his work. He understood that change might take time, but he also knew that perseverance and patience were powerful tools. Day by day, the rancher continued his labor, rebuilding the ranch and restoring a sense of peace and order. Finally, after months of careful work and negotiation, the rancher was able to formally reclaim the ranch. The legal process was straightforward, supported by the evidence he had gathered and the testimony of neighbors who respected his work and dedication. His brother, though still unwilling to accept the outcome emotionally, could not contest the facts. The rancher had proven ownership, loyalty, and care, and justice had been recognized. With the ranch officially returned to him, the rancher could focus on fully restoring life on the land. His wives were welcomed without hesitation, their presence no longer questioned or doubted. Together, they repaired what had been neglected, planted new crops, and expanded the care of the animals. The ranch, once tense and uncertain, now felt alive again, filled with the sounds of work, laughter, and shared life. The rancher also took time to reflect on the lessons he had learned. He realized that family could sometimes disappoint, but loyalty, patience, and love could overcome even the deepest betrayal. The experience had been painful, yet it had strengthened his resolve and deepened his appreciation for the life he had built. He understood that justice is not always immediate, but persistence and care can restore what is rightfully ours. Evenings on the ranch returned to a peaceful rhythm. The family would sit together after a long day, sharing meals and stories, watching the sun set over the fields. The rancher often looked at the land, feeling a sense of satisfaction mixed with gratitude. The ranch was not only a place to live and work, it was a symbol of perseverance, family, and love. It was a reminder that even in the face of betrayal, dedication and integrity could restore balance and harmony. The Apache wives, too, found joy in the restoration. Their loyalty had been tested, but they had remained steadfast, helping the rancher reclaim the land and their shared life. Together, they nurtured the home, the animals, and the crops, showing that partnership and love could overcome adversity. Their laughter and work-filled days became the soundtrack of the ranch, a reminder that unity and courage bring life and hope even after hardship. As time passed, the rancher continued to strengthen the ranch and his family's bonds. He maintained vigilance, ensuring that the land remained productive and the animals well cared for. He also found ways to support the community, sharing his experiences and helping neighbors when possible. Through his actions, he became respected not only as a hard-working rancher, but also as a man of integrity who had overcome betrayal without losing his sense of justice and humanity. In the end, the rancher's journey had been more than a battle for land. It had been a test of character, patience, and perseverance. He had returned to find betrayal and rejection, yet through steadfast effort, careful planning, and the support of those who loved him, he had reclaimed what was his. The ranch was not only restored physically, but emotionally and spiritually as well. It was a home filled with hope, love, and the promise of many fruitful years ahead. The rancher often stood at the edge of the fields, looking over the land that had once been threatened by loss. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The struggle had been difficult, but it had shown him the power of loyalty, hard work, and the courage to face adversity. His life, his family, and his ranch were safe once again. A testament to resilience and the strength of true dedication. And so, the rancher's home, once threatened by betrayal, now stood strong and full of life. The Apache wives were fully welcomed, the land was thriving, and the rancher had regained not only his property, but also his sense of peace and purpose. Life had returned to the ranch, stronger and more beautiful than ever before. A reminder that justice, love, and perseverance could overcome even the most difficult challenges.